2. Welcome to this special episode of So You Want to Sell on eBay. I'm Ron LeBeau.
And I'm Ali Young.
Hey everyone, we have with us today Jeff Clark. Jeff, how you doing today, sir?
Awesome, Ron. How are you guys doing?
I'm doing great here in St. Louis. How are you doing in Thailand, Ali?
Marvelous, absolutely marvelous. Great to have you with us, Jeff.
Whatever, man. It's always marvelous in Thailand.
Yes.
Thailand.
All right.
Wow.
That's
Too
right.
cool.
That's right. So Jeff is a homeschooling father of 7, living in a small northern Indiana town surrounded by Amish farms and cornfields. He's been selling online since 2006, selling 6 figures a year as a one-man show. He runs the Sorcerer's Apprentice Facebook group, has a YouTube channel, 2 books, and a video course teaching online selling. Unbelievable. What do you do in your spare time?
Yeah.
It's a spare time? What's
Yes.
that?
Yeah.
You actually missed in a partridge in a pear tree, but yes, absolutely.
Right.
Unbelievable. So we got you on today to talk about stores. You wouldn't think it's really that in-depth conversation, but it's like things that we get asked a lot, especially on the show, is when to start a store, when not to start a store, because people aren't sure. Like, let's say they have 10 products. Would you recommend having a store at that point? Are you doing the maths on it? So what's your sort of philosophy of all of this?
I think it all depends on your sales limit, because your store is a subscription, so it's basically a business cost. So, it's one of those things that, you look at your sales, and at the time that you can justify it, when it becomes a pain to not have a store, that's the time to get a store.
All right. Yeah.
And once you have a store, the same thing applies to upgrading your subscription. I've upgraded my subscription a couple of times already, and, I'm waiting for that next level where it's like, okay, it's now a pain that I'm not on the next level. And that's when you move up.
Yeah. And so for anybody who doesn't have an eBay business now, or maybe they just started, what are some of the advantages of having an eBay store? I mean, you can sell online on eBay and you don't have to have a store, but what are some of the advantages of having an eBay store?
Sure. Well, there's some functions, that eBay gives to store subscribers that normal sellers don't have. But one of the best perks really is once you have a store, eBay does a little bit of promotion on your items. So when somebody's searching an item, it's not just, they get, this random list of things.
Mm-hmm.
This top search hits selected will be the people that have stores. So, you get to the first eyeballs on your item.
And I guess the other thing is like if you have a niche, let's just say you sell baseball items, you got bats, you got gloves, you got hats. If I'm in your store and I see that you got the hat that I want, but I also look over in that store, I also see a baseball, I'm not going to be buying that from somebody else. I'm in your store, I'm physically in your store, and I'll probably buy from you, right?
Exactly. One of my top niches is vinyl records. Okay. Oh my gosh, I sell so many vinyl records. I sell 5 figures in vinyl records alone, every year. So I get people all the time on my eBay store, they'll be looking at something and they'll just browse around my store because I've got, a couple hundred vinyl albums on there. They'll just browse around and pick 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah, and that's the other neat thing too is you can put categories in your eBay store, right?
Yeah,
so you can have all these
Yeah.
different things. You can sort them, so it's not just looking at baseball items and albums in the same
Right.
category. You can subcategorize.
Right, and that's really helpful. I got to tell you a story about that. I had a guy. So I went to an auction. I'm an auction guy. I absolutely love auctions, and I bought a big tub of 16 millimeter films. Now, I don't know how much you know about film, but 8 millimeter is the skinny stuff that the home movies are. Okay, and then 35 millimeter is what they put in professional movie theaters. So you go to the theater, eat the popcorn. That's what they're shooting up on the screen. Well, 16 millimeter is in between there, and that's what they would use for educational films. So like when you were a kid and you're in school and, it's raining outside, you can't go out for recess, they bring the class in and they show them a film on, whatever, food safety or something boring.
Yeah.
Those were the 16 millimeter films. So I got this huge tub of 16 millimeter films. And most of them were things like, the history of Japan.
Oh, wow. Good films.
Things, really interesting topics. But I saw one title that caught my eye, okay? And it was called Hardware Wars. It was a spoof on Star Wars that was created in 1978, the year after Star Wars. Now, today, people spoof films all the time. It takes them 5 minutes. They throw it up on YouTube. But back then, you had to hire actors. You had to build sets. You had to make costumes. It was a professional deal. Okay.
Yeah.
So it probably cost them, 30, 40 grand in 1978 money. But I had a 16 millimeter film of this, and it's only 15 minutes long. Okay. So about this whole tub of films for $20, I sold that Hardware Wars film for $314.
Nice.
Okay? The guy that bought it, though, went through my store in my store category of films, and he saw that I had some other films, and he also saw that I had some projectors. So that one transaction turned out to be, 3 or 4 transactions. And rather than just a $315 sale, it turned into, about $500-$600 by the time everything was done.
Amazing.
And probably some of the other things he was looking for, that he purchased, he might not even been looking for, but he was in your store.
That's
he happened
right.
to see him.
That's exactly right.
You know what? That's a good deal. I'm going to get that one too. That's pretty impressive. Yeah, that's awesome.
Yep. And then that turns into a longer term relationship too, because I still have his contact in my phone.
Yeah.
If I run across other things, I can just text him and say, "Hey, Paul."
Right. Right. Oh, you know Paul too?
You know him, yeah, that Paul. Yeah. So what about so when you're brand new, do you start at the basic store, and then work your way up from there, or?
If you're brand new, I would suggest not even getting a store right off the bat.
Okay.
Just get your feet wet, learning how to sell stuff first. Okay. Get the basics down, and that will also help you determine the kind of seller you are. Okay. When I'm teaching and when I'm coaching, I always tell people, you don't have to be an expert in everything. Just because you see me selling vinyl records and books and electronics and board games doesn't mean that you have to find that same stuff. Because me, even as experienced as I am selling, I know that I walk by thousands of dollars of value, at garage sales and at auction. I see jewelry and glassware and shoes. I don't give a crap about jewelry and shoes. I don't know that stuff. Okay.
Right.
I know vinyl records, I know electronics, and I know a lot more now than I did when I first started selling on eBay. When I first sold on eBay, I was selling RV parts.
Nice.
Oh,
I worked at an RV factory.
Yeah.
I was going to say, was that an accident?
No, I worked at an RV factory, and they would have shelf poles. And so I would just buy the poles off the shelf and sell them on eBay. That was the very first thing I did. Okay. Now, back then, I never would have guessed that I'd be selling a crap ton of vinyl records on eBay. Right?
Definitely, yes.
If you're just starting on eBay, just find something to sell and sell it. And once you get into the groove of finding things and selling them, then you're going to start finding your path. You're going to start finding out, wow, I really love these old tube radios. These are really cool. Wow, I love these old antique aluminum kitchen pots. These are really cool. You eventually develop your expertise. That's when you can brand your store, you can do your categories, you can create your own niche.
Right. And repeat customers, man. I tell you what, without an eBay store, you might not have repeat customers.
That's true. That's true. It's a lot easier for them to find you and communicate with you once you've got the store.
So is a store then, so you got lots of products. Is it best just to leave products that aren't selling in the store just to make it look like it's a sort of bigger store than it is, or is that sort of not needed?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
For some people, they think for example, if you had a store on a street and they only had 7 or 8 items in it, and there was a store next door and it looked really full, you'd probably go to the store next door. But is it the same like that on eBay? Does it really matter?
Not necessarily. I think what matters more is how you fashion your listings. Okay, you want your listings to be created so that people can find them. All right, because people, when they first see you, they're not coming to browse through stores. They're looking for a specific item. Okay,
right.
So let the people find you with the item first. Then they can see, oh, you've only got 7 or 8 items. And really, that won't be a turnoff if you've got good items and your listings are done well. Okay. As long as your listing has a good headline that's gonna have the keywords that people are searching for. You got good photos. You've got a good description, and your description, that's where your sales copy is. Okay. I see people all the time in the titles, they'll put, beautiful gorgeous, blah, blah, blah. Well, nobody searches the word gorgeous,
Right.
That's
Yeah.
ridiculous. That's what you put in the description. That's your sales copy. And being super honest in your condition notes. Okay. I also see some sellers that try to, they try to hide the flaws because they think people won't buy stuff. In fact, I even had one thing I was buying that I was going to flip. And I wrote to the seller and I said, hey, I can only see, 2 sides of this box, but it looks like there might be some damage around there. Can you send me some more photos? And she wrote back to me and said, it's fine.
Oh my goodness.
No, it's not.
Oh, wow.
No, it's really not.
Fine. Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
From sales.
So do you use with stores and stuff, you're just using the built-in eBay store, are you? You doing any graphics on it, or do you design it up, brand it up?
No, I didn't do any graphics. I uploaded some photos, but I haven't really gussied up my store at all. I spend more of my time concentrating on the products that I have and making sure that I've got, what people are looking for.
Which is proof that that's more important, because in the bio, you're doing 6 figures.
Yep.
That's pretty impressive, and for not having a big, fancy, shiny store with all the glitter. You've got great quality products, and that's what people really look for.
Yeah. Yeah. And the one thing I look for when I'm out sourcing all the time is just margin.
Okay.
I mean, honestly, like I said, I don't know jewelry and shoes. I'll walk past that, but I do know where I can find margin on old electronics and toys and, kitchenware, stuff like that.
And were you always that good with that, or is this
no.
Okay.
Heck no.
That's what I was gonna say, because
this is a skill I didn't even know I had.
Yeah.
Okay? I tell people it took me to age 51 to figure out what I wanted to be when I grew up.
Yeah, man. Well, I'm older than that, and I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up.
I like that.
So
Yes.
that's good.
It was to grow
That's
up.
awesome. So when you talk about that, I mean, when you talk about, developing the different niches, did you start out with one niche and kind of hone that and said, you know what, I'm going to expand and go to this or that? Or did it just kind of all fall together and you just kind of became an expert in a bunch of different niches?
Yeah, I think it was more hit and miss. I mean, like I said, I started out with the RV parts just because that's what I had available to me. Okay. And once those started selling and I saw some crazy margins there, I learned a lot of valuable lessons doing that. Okay. And a lot of them were by chance. Okay. One super valuable lesson I learned was that different people have totally different tastes. Okay. When I'm teaching people, I say, you know what? I hate shrimp cocktail. Okay. You may love it. You may pay $25 for it in a restaurant. I wouldn't give you 25 cents. Okay. But that's just the difference between you and me. Now, when you're outsourcing and you're thinking and you're looking for stuff to sell on eBay, if you look at something and you think, who in the world would ever buy this? You better be buying it.
Yeah.
Because somebody will. Okay. Back to the RV parts. I first learned that lesson when I brought home this box full of 50 rolls of wall border. Okay. And it was the ugliest crap. It was snot green and it had these skinny little dragonflies on it. And my wife said, "You are insane. What are you doing with that box?" I said, "I'm going to sell it on eBay." She goes, "Like heck you are."
Yeah.
So I had 50 rolls that I paid $5 for, and they flew out of my house at $5 a piece.
Nice.
People wrote to me saying, "Oh, this is so beautiful. I put it up in my kitchen." I'm like, my God, don't ever invite me over for dinner. Yeah.
Yeah.
But the lesson there is there are a lot of people out there that like snot green with skinny dragonflies. Okay?
Comes in handy.
Hey, this boy. This boy.
Yes.
Okay. The things that I like, other people may not. So that's one mindset, to get over is if it's weird, if it's odd color, odd shape, odd design, man, somebody out there is going to be all over it.
That's impressive. So how do you do research on odd items, that you can't really kind of go to the completed listing for to find out what the value of it is?
Yeah, wow. Research, that's kind of an odd thing. So when I start research, like let's say I get, I sell a lot of electronics, all right?
Yep.
Let's say I get an old reel-to-reel player, okay? I'll start out by searching the brand and the model number. I'll try to be as specific as possible. If I can find, completed listings on that brand and model number, great, I'm good to go. Then I've got some things to look at. One thing, you notice I said completed listings and not sold listings. A lot of sellers make the mistake of looking at sold listings. Well, that's not going to tell you the whole story. Okay. You click on sold listings and you may see, oh, look, 2 of these sold in the last 3 months for, $30. Okay. That's great. But if you click on completed listings, you'll see that yes, 2 of them sold, but 25 did not sell. Okay.
Okay.
That tells you that there's low demand and there's a lot of supply out there. Okay.
Right.
If, on the other hand, you click on completed and you see that 15 have sold and 8 or 10 have not. Now you've got a good ratio. Okay.
There you go.
There's high demand for that item out there. And it can show you other things like why, if you study those listings, you can find out why those things did not sell. Is it because of the price? Was the price too high? Or is it because, they have crappy photos? Or sometimes I've even seen specific words in the titles of the sold listings that weren't there in the unsold listings. So that tells me that particular word is something that people are searching for, right?
Awesome.
You can learn a lot by looking at that.
Amazing. Anyway, I mean, these little things change everything.
It really can. It really can. So anyway, I start out by looking at specific brand and specific model number. If I can't find that, drop the model number and just search for brand, okay? If I can't even find the brand, or at least the brand, I might put the brand and then reel-to-reel player. Okay, well, maybe not even that item. Maybe it's something else. I'll put that brand and record player or cassette player, or just the brand and electronics. Okay, just keep going more and more general until you get a hit. If you can't find the brand at all, drop the brand and just say, what the heck, reel-to-reel players, show me something. Give me something.
Right.
Okay? Take whatever you can get. Start as specific as you can get. Go generic until you actually find something that you can build on and get some research on.
Cool. So let's get back to eBay stores and talk about, you talked about you've upgraded different platforms. How does it start? So let's, you're a brand new person. You get the basic plan. What does that get you? And then how and why would you, upgrade?
So the basic plan, oh man, I don't know the details.
Yeah, that's fair. It's been a long time for you, right?
It really has. I've had a store for a number of years now. I don't even know what the thing is.
But you get like more listings, don't you? You get more free listings, you get more stuff like that.
Yes, you get more free listings, and
better customer service probably, and
there's upgraded service. There's some features available in the higher stores that aren't available in the lower grade stores, and yeah, I'm sorry, I don't have the details up there.
Yeah, no worries.
Like I said,
but again, that's the thing. You look at, and eBay lays it all out. Okay, they've got all the store things, and then all the features that are on them. So you get to the point where you're like, okay, I really want that feature, or man, I've maxed out my listings. I'm consistently maxing out my listings every month. Now it's time to upgrade. Okay,
gotcha.
That's generally the point where I go. The features, they're helpful, but that's not really the selling point for me. The selling point for me is, how big is my store? Okay. Am I at my 1,000 listings and it's time to upgrade? Okay. Once you are and you're consistently doing that, then yeah, it's worth the money to upgrade.
Definitely, because you've obviously got more product and you've got more sales and blah, blah, blah. So
you're not going to sell it if it's just sitting around.
Exactly. That's right. You see my house. I know that for a fact. So, like, how many listings would you put on a day? Like, what's the way of you keep your fresh store and stuff? Keep it sort of fresh.
Well, I have a lady doing a lot of my eBay listings for me now, and she only works a couple hours in the evening, so she'll do, and not every evening. She's a retired lady, but she'll do 10, 15 listings or so for me. And then I also have a VA who's doing cross listing from my Amazon inventory. Okay. To cross list on eBay, which if someone has an Amazon store, boy, that'll boost up your eBay listings really quick if you do multi-channel fulfillment listing from Amazon to eBay.
That's awesome. So yeah, so you're to a point now where you've built your business and you're doing a lot of thrifting, right? And it sounds like you've got other people doing the other end of it. So, that's pretty cool, because now you went from a one-man show to, you've grown up and you've got a VA, you got another helper doing your listings. That has to be a really cool feeling, because I'm sure it's pretty overwhelming to be that one-person show doing everything and having all the stress and all that with it.
It really is. And I'm at a point now where I'm real seriously need to expand right here in my local area. I'm actually looking for a facility so I can get crap out of my garage, Ali, like you're
Right.
talking. I got piles of crap back there. I need to organize stuff better. And I've drawn out, some processing lines. Okay. So I can start hiring a couple people and saying, all right, this is our eBay line, this is our Amazon line, and this is how we do it,
Yeah.
which, I've got a background in management, in production. So I know how to write out the procedures and how to train people in that.
So is there tools for that type of management? Like, because, that's quite a hard thing for a lot of people is managing your workers, managing your store, managing your listing, managing buying the product, managing storing it. It becomes like,
Right, right. And if that's overwhelming for people, I mean, you can probably contact your local small business administration and look for help. Okay. I contacted mine and just got a mentor to sit down with me for an hour, and talk through my plan. And he gave me some pointers and some things to look out for. So, a lot of that is usually free, with your local organizations.
Right, right. And you kind of touched on a little bit about having like processes in place. I think a lot of people when they first start their eBay business, learning the processes is pretty key because you can go to a thrift store and come back with 20 different things. And if you're taking a picture and then you're listing it and then you're boxing, that's like way backwards, right? I mean, a lot of people that we talk about, take all the pictures, then do all the listings, and it's about building the processes and building your business one little block at a time.
Exactly. If I'm doing a listing, that's what I do. I take a pile of stuff over to my photo area, take a crap ton of pictures, then bring them over and start, doing one thing at a time. When you're doing processes and you're wanting to start hiring people and training people, so like with my VA, okay, I have her doing things, just maintenance tasks, within my eBay and my Amazon stores. And so what I'll do is I've got a screen capture program that I can, film what's going on my screen while I'm talking over it. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'll just take her through, this is how you do it. This is this and this is this. And that's great, for her because she's in the Philippines,
Sure.
But somebody close by, a couple of years ago, I bought 4,000 books at an auction. Okay. It was a retired pastor. And I actually trained my, at the time, 17-year-old daughter to list them. And so the way I did it is I set my phone camera up and I filmed myself listing books, talking while I'm doing it. Okay. Then I played that film back for myself and wrote the procedure out. Okay. Scan the barcode. If no barcode, type in the ISBN. If no ISBN, type in, the name and author. Make sure you find the right edition. Okay. Here's how you judge condition. This is good. This is very good. This is excellent. Whatever. This is what I want in the condition notes. This is how you research pricing. This is where to price it. If you see this. And I just laid out everything for her. Then I sat her down, had her read through it, had her watch me do a few. Then I sat her down and said, you try it, and I coached her through it. And it really only took, a few hours, and she was able to just go off on her own.
Yeah. So let me ask you this, getting back to eBay stores, how long have you had an eBay store? Because you've been doing this for quite a long time, right?
Right. Well, I started selling on eBay in 2006, but it was always kind of a side gig until, in 2013, then I started selling on Amazon also, and I was also selling on Craigslist. But then in 2014, when my wife passed away, that's when I decided to go full time in December. So really September of 14 is when I went full time selling Amazon and eBay, and I upgraded to my first store, I think summer of 15.
Okay. So that transition from not having a store, right? And just selling it part-time, that transition from not having a store to having a store, I can only imagine it being so much more organized and so much more, the day-to-day would be a lot easier, I think, if you had categories, you have a nice store, it's organized, you have all your different categories, you set things up, maybe you change a different category and add new products to it all the time. I think that would be so awesome. And, a lot of new people, may not see the value in having an eBay store. But when you get to that point, if you're really going to be serious about having an eBay business, you really need an eBay store, right?
Well, yeah, and it's a great motivator too, because it gives you that psychological thing of, oh, hey, I'm a real legitimate thing here.
Yes.
I'm not just some dude in his basement. Yeah, I'm not just some dude in his basement, with he's around him, trying to put him on,
Yeah,
right.
This is a serious deal now. So yeah, it's a great psychological motivator.
Yeah, and you have the expense of it too. So you have to, in your head, you might be going, you know what? I've got to make that $30 anyhow. I got to, pay the store. So
Exactly.
you get that, and you start boosting it up. So I can imagine where that would be a motivator and a convincer that hey, wow, I actually have a business. That's kind of cool.
Sure. Well, and now all of a sudden, you have a better reputation to maintain.
Yep.
Yeah.
So one thing that motivated me was on, working on my feedback. Okay.
Right.
Making sure that my feedback stayed at 100%. So as soon as I got a store, I put on the return policy, 60 days, that's the max. They don't require 60 days. Okay. They don't need to require it. Okay. I'm going to offer it. 1 day handling time. Is that a pain in the butt? Yeah, it's a pain in the butt. I got other stuff to do, I got family to take care of. I got, I play trombone in a jazz band. I'm all over the place here doing stuff, right? So yeah, sometimes a 1 day handling time requires me to hustle back home and get that thing packed.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but it keeps my reputation up. And especially the biggest thing was if anyone, responds with any kind of problems, most of the time I'll say, here's a full refund, just keep it. Okay. I mean, unless it's, something that if it's like a super high dollar item, I might work with them a little bit. But honestly, most of your returns, they come from small dollar items anyway. So most of the time, people say, hey, something's wrong with this. I'll say, well, here's your refund, just keep it, whatever.
Yeah.
And then I get more positive feedback,
Yeah.
So I mean, right now I'm at 100% positive feedback. So
look at that. Nicely done. So, I mean, it's sort of like a real no-brainer after a while, isn't it? I mean, the maths on it. The maths is that you get cheaper listings anyway. It's more expensive to list without a store. And if you compare that to how many products you have, you're not actually paying more for the store, really.
Exactly. You get to the point where it's a net benefit to you to have the store. That's the time to upgrade. And that's what I meant by a pain, okay? If you're being hindered because you haven't upgraded to the store, that's the time to get there.
Yep.
Absolutely.
Definitely. So what's your sort of like, we're running out of time here, but what's your like top 5 tips to sort of getting a store or doing something with a store? I mean, just like the sort of takeaway parts.
Okay. Well, the number one tip is find good stuff. Find stuff that people want. I can't tell you how many coaching students I have that say, well, I've got this, and it should sell, but it's not selling. If it's not selling, then no, it shouldn't sell because nobody wants it.
That's right. That's right.
No, find something people want.
Yeah.
Right. So number one is finding good product people want. Number two is making sure you're creating a good listing. Okay. Number three is maintaining your reputation. Okay. Your reputation is super important. Once you've got that store name up there and people say, oh, this is, Stromata's store, man, because eBay wants you to do that too, because you're representing them, as well as representing yourself. Number four, organize. Oh my gosh. And this is something I'm absolutely terrible at because I'm like you, Ollie. I got a pile of crap in my garage. Some of it's listed, some of it's not. It's not making me any money just sitting there. But the sooner you can organize, the better. And that's not just physical organization, but also administrative organization. Okay. If you're not good with books, get an accountant or at least get, QuickBooks or GoDaddy bookkeeping or something, to help you along. There's groups out there, that will help you too with bookwork and administrative stuff. So organization, number 5, then just have fun.
Yes.
There you go.
Fun.
Love it.
Business, but honestly, I can't tell some days when I'm playing and when I'm working.
Yeah. That's when you know it's fun.
I know. I can't wait to get out of bed on Monday morning and do something.
There you go, man. That's awesome.
That's a great note to leave. So how can people get in contact with you, Jeff?
They can join my Facebook group at Sources Apprentice. Or they can look up my YouTube channel, Sources Apprentice. Find me there.
Okay.
Cool. All right. So yeah, we'll go over to those and check Jeff out, and I'm sure he'll be willing to answer any of your questions. Thanks so much, Jeff. Seriously, you've really helped a lot of people here, you know, with your knowledge and your experience and stuff like that. It's been great chatting with you. And we shall see everyone. Unless you got something to say, Ron, you all good?
Absolutely, man. This is awesome. Thank you so much for joining us, man. You came highly recommended for talking about eBay stores. You really knocked it out of the park, Jeff. Thank you so much for being a part of our summit, and we look forward to seeing you guys on the next video.
See you all later. Take it easy.
Bye bye.